Oh, I think... Oh, hold on. Yeah, I know why. I think I'm getting mixed up with how these ready functions work. So I think you enter tree before you are ready. I think ready is like the second callback once all the children are initialized, if I remember rightly. Cool, so that sends a D missile. And now we can fire Ds at people. Don't do that in public. But that is useful, but now we need to just pop the D off our tail. Or maybe we could, before we do that, look at implementing our cooldown timer, perhaps? Yeah, okay, let's do that first. So I'm going to open up the player and I guess the ship scene. And I'm going to add... No, actually, I think it's better on the player. Is it? The player's doing the shooting. Sure. Okay, so what we're going to do here is add a child node, and that's just going to be a timer and our wait time. It is a one-shot timer. 1 second I think is not enough. It's not quick enough. Half a second I think is probably alright. And what we'll call this is shooting timer. And then let's go up to our player and set a variable at the class level can shoot equals true. And then when we do shoot, let's put this here, can shoot. In fact, let's put it even further up, equals false. And then here we can say if not can shoot, early return, right? In fact, I wonder if we even need that. I think we can get around it by being a bit tricky. So let's say on ready var the shooting timer is going to be equal to $ shooting timer, right? And what we do is we start the timer immediately. So we should say shooting timer dot start, right? But if shooting timer dot time left, and we do not need brackets in Godot, is if time left is not equal to 0, then return early, right? Otherwise we start the timer and it begins counting down. Okay, I reckon I'd place 20% chance on this working. Okay, well, we were able to shoot once. We weren't able to shoot twice in quick succession. Nice. So one thing that I think we want to do is we want to take the player's initial velocity, I guess. We want to take the player's velocity, but only in the direction that they're facing. I can't remember what that's even called. What would I search for? So, Okay, let's have a look at the Vector 2 library. I guess that's where the clues are going to lie. So what I'm doing now is I kind of just want to add... Oh, thanks Ivan Diaz for the follow. Appreciated. How's your day going? Okay. So, look, right. Okay, let's say Godot, velocity, in one direction. That might... So we can normalize the velocity. I could look at, I suppose. Aspect. I mean, we could be quite naive and just add the player's velocity length to the impulse. Yeah, screw it. I'll work out the maths behind that later. Okay, so what we're going to do is missile letter, and let's say missile dot impulse addition equals ship dot velocity. Yeah, just ship dot velocity, right? In fact, yeah, of course, we just... What am I... I'm trying to convert two velocities, and just like, you don't have to do any conversion, you just add them together. Idiot. Okay, cool. So, in fact, I wonder if we want to do that after the fact. Or maybe even treat that like a... I'm just thinking whether that should be more of a method on the missile instead of screwing around with its properties from the outside. Probably better architecturally to do it like that. let me check the docs and just see Godot instance. Let's bring that one up there as well. Anything with a solved in the title is usually worth looking at. Okay, so what are they doing here? Yeah, okay. Just ready. And I guess this person's going to say the same thing. Init. Alright, sweet. So that init was essentially what I was going to do anyway, so it's good to see that others have the same idea. So let's do a func init, and we are going to take a letter and a ship, maybe a shooter, right? And here we can now say this, and this initial impulse so bar force, and then let's say the impulse is going to be equal to this thing here, right? And this can be the impulse. Oh, hold on. Okay, I think I know. Okay, well, I'm going to do this slightly differently. Okay, so we're going to say, like, the shooting impulse, right, is going to be equal to that rotated over its current rotation, right? So what I'm imagining is when you shoot, there's two impulses that we're essentially going to add together. We have the impulse of the bullet ignition, right? That impact force, which is a purely straight ahead. Hello, samurai on duty. I didn't realize I had employed you, but it's glad to have you here, keeping things under control. Okay, so the bullet force is going perfectly in the direction of the bullet, and then we have an additional impulse, which is going to be going in the direction of the player. So they're not necessarily going to be in the same directions. So, for instance, if the player is thrusting backwards, but then shoots, those two impulses might actually cancel out, and the bullet might just sit dead in space for a while until the constant force propels it forward again. I hope that makes sense. Makes sense in my head. That's all that really matters. How's it going, samurai? Defeated any feudal lords recently? I'm working on a multiplayer space shooter, which is also a bit of a puzzle quiz game, where you fly around space collecting letters, trying to spell words, and you shoot letters at other people to interrupt their game. Okay, so when we initialize this missile, we're going to pass it a letter of the alphabet, right? And we're going to pass it a shooter, which is normally going to be a ship. There's no typing involved. It's actually, I'm going to try and design it more for mobile. So I think like 3 buttons, like a 3-button control scheme, if possible. Once I fix this code, I'll boot the game up to show you, but we're just currently a little bit broken, so I just need to fix that, and then I'll show you immediately afterwards, okay? Okay, so we're going to take all this code here, we're going to say missile.init with the letter and the ship, and then all of this code now moves into the missile. Whoops. And so I think we can actually immediately apply the impulse here, right? We don't need to save it anywhere. We'll just immediately apply the impulse at the vector2, 0, otherwise known as the center of the object. This is VS Code, Visual Studio Code. It's like a stripped down version of Visual Studio. And the only reason I'm using it, Godot's got a really good text editor built in, but I've chosen to use this just because it's got Vim shortcuts, and I kind of like Vim. I'm one of those weird people. Masochists who like keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so let's just apply the impulse immediately. I'm pretty sure that's fine. I think the physics system will work even though this node is not actually in the tree yet. So the letter we don't have to worry about anymore. The position is going to be the shooter position, and the rotation is going to be the shooter rotation. Oh, and that should be shooter as well. In fact, before we apply the impulse, we need to have the correct orientation first, right? And this is going to be a physics body 2D of some type, and this letter is going to be a string. What are you complaining about? Oh yeah, we don't need to do missile dot because we're already inside the missile, so we don't need that. And we can get rid of all this space here. Fantastic. So let's read through this init function. Is shadowing and oh yeah, okay. So we'll call this initial letter. And in fact, we don't even need that variable anymore. Okay, cool. So when we initialize this missile, we take a letter of the alphabet and we put it in the label so we can see what letter is inside the bullet. We make the position of the bullet the same as whoever's shooting it, so the ship. We make sure the bullet's pointing in the same direction as whoever's shooting it. And then we apply the velocity of the shooter, so that the velocity of the shooter should be added to the bullet. So if I'm running really fast, the bullet should be running fast as well. And then we add a shooting impulse, which is the actual trajectory of the bullet, which is slightly different. Okay, so let's have a look. So what I'm trying to fix right now is that when I shoot the bullet standing still, it feels okay. It shoots fine. But then if I'm thrusting really quickly and moving quickly, and then I shoot, the bullet is feeling too slow. I'm catching up with my own bullet. So I need the bullet to travel relative to me when I'm going fast. So let's give this a go. So we pick up a couple of letters. Okay, so if I just shoot when I'm moving, you can see it's fine. And if I'm moving backwards, it kind of, I think it seems to make a difference. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. Okay, so if I'm flying really quickly and I shoot, I'm still shooting a lot quicker now. Okay, cool. I think I will commit that, and we can move on to